Yeah. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kamara, but I usually prefer to be called Siku. Now, I'm the duly authorized person. Enforcement to follow exactly what the Supreme Court ordered. On August 14, 2025, the Supreme Court of Liberia delivered its judgment in an injunction matter involving the estate of late Mamadee Kamara and Batun Keita. The court issued a clear and a binding mandate that the appellee must be put in possession of his property strictly based on the meat and bound of the deed he pleaded before the court, and not a substitute. Okay. The court further clarified that the Liberia Land Authority investigative survey was only a technical aid to the process, so it cannot override the Supreme Court order. The distinction is critical. A technical aid assists the court. It does not override the court order. The Supreme Court acknowledged that an investigative survey was conducted and that its 11 findings and observation established that Party D show their property to be adjacent. The appellant has structure built on 2 lots of the appellee adjacent property, and most importantly, one of those lots is occupied by EcoBank. The Supreme Court states, again, and I quote, the appellant has structure built on the appellee adjacent property, one of which is occupied by EcoBank. And that is why we are standing right before the EcoBank today to do this press conference. This was not a speculation. It was not a commentary. It was of the property subject to its mandate. Once the Supreme Court identified EcoBank as occupying one of Mr. Keita's 2 lots, the location for enforcement was fixed by judicial determinations. However, enforcement actions carried out in November 2025 did not occur at EcoBank location, as you can see. Instead, they were directed at the Kamara own property over there. No enforcement occurred at the EcoBank site identified by the Supreme Court in its mandate. This disconnect at the heart of the dispute. The contradictions reinforced by the Liberian Land Authority investigative survey report dated April 26, 2024, which also states that the defendant property is now being occupied. The Supreme Court says one of the 2 lots owned by Mr. Mohammed Keita is occupied by EcoBank. And then the survey, the investigative survey report ordered by the court says that EcoBank is on the property of Mamadee Kamara. Well, that's a contradiction. 2, the official record placed the same permanent structure on 2 different properties. The Supreme Court resolved this contradiction by explicitly stating that survey was only a technical aid to the process, and by issuing a mandate based on the needs and bound of the depleted, not the survey. Enforcement that followed the survey, while disregarding the code description, reversed the legal order. It is important to emphasize that this confusion had disrupted a long history of peaceful coexistence. For decades, the Kamara family and the Wata Younger family lived peacefully as adjoining landowner in this area. Their land were distant, their boundaries were recognized, there were no conflict, there were no encroachment, and there were no dispute between the two families for the past 50 years. The Younger estate acquired its land in 1975. The Kamara estate occupied its land lawfully, openly for decades. Business grew, family coexisted, peace was maintained, and it was only after the flawed application of investigative survey and misdirection of enforcement that this long-standing harmony was disturbed. This is not a conflict born of neighbor. It is a conflict born of, because the Younger estate was never notified, never heard, and never made a party to the injectment of this case. The administrators of the Younger estate filed a writ of prohibition, now pending before the Supreme Court. The writ said one thing: to restrain enforcement action that affect third party land without notice and without judicial determination. Part of the purpose of today's press conference is to publicly and fully support that writ, precisely so that peace coexists. Precisely so that peaceful coexistence is restored rather than further disrupted. Before enforcement occurred, we acted responsibly. That is before, when I arrived into this country, we acted responsibly. I personally met the Vice President of Liberia to discuss this matter. And when we met, I only asked for one thing: a survey to put Mr. Keita in possession of his property based on the need and bound of the depleted. That is not from me. That is from the Supreme Court of Liberia. A survey will be conducted, and that has always been our fight. Next, we met the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. The Chief Justice, when I met him and told him, "Your Honor, I only want one thing. I want a survey before Keita can be put in possession of his property." That is not a special favor. It is strictly from the mandate of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice was excited, and he called me his son. I'm so happy that we are able to avoid violence. I'm so happy that you are following the legal path. We are going to do that. The Chief Justice, in that capacity, called the lower court judge, Judge Peter Belawale, and ordered him to organize a conference in which we are going to bring our technical surveyor. All parties will be present. And you know why? Former Chief Justice Cabinet Janet was present. He brought a surveyor. In fact, he was invited by Weah himself. And then, His Honor, the chairman of the Supreme Elder Council, Sidiki Ture, was also present. The sheriff who was charged to carry on the enforcement, Captain Colin, was also present. That day, Judge Weah told us, my son, you are on the good path. What are you going to do? The government surveyor, who happened to be Samuel Downwell Jr., who conducted the government investigative survey, is not in town. He's in Kakata. When he's back, we will call you. We will let you know what day we will have the survey. That happened on November 11. But unfortunately, that never happened. On November 13, I received an early call from my family that they were here for the enforcement. I was shocked. I was shocked. No call, no survey, boom. Like invasion. A complete violation of the Supreme Court mandate. And again, that is not all to it. This property, I'm going to show that to you. From here, all the way over there, that is 2 lots. From over there, all the way over there, that is another 2 lots. But the Supreme Court was very strict, and it described Echo Bend as a specific location where enforcement should take place. It is there. And still, you all can see, everything is functional, right? Everything is functional. But that is not for me. I have the ruling here. I will distribute it to everybody here so that you can read it yourself. And I will also provide a copy of the investigative survey to anybody present here so that you can read yourself. I'm not doing anything all along. We are going straight with what the Supreme Court mandate says. But somebody is not following that. And we want to let you, the media, know maybe you do not have the fact that this is what that is happening here. In the words of us, even though the Supreme Court said this area belongs to Mr. Keita, and that area belongs to Mr. Kamara, or the investigator survey says that area belongs to Mr. Keita, and this area belongs to Mr. Kamara, it's one thing. This area belongs to the Younger family. Wata Younger, that's her name. She purchased this place in 1975, and on her deed, which I will show to the media, it listed Mamadee Kamara as the direct neighbor. And the deed that this man brought is 1989. So basically, the Keita guy was created, he was fabricated by the Liberia Land Authority. A personal, okay. All right, sorry. Okay, we are asking that the judgment be executed exactly as it's written by the Supreme Court mandate. Nothing else, nothing more. What the Supreme Court says, that is what that must be done. A technical error cannot override a judicial mandate. Administrative error cannot replace long-standing peace. Enforcement cannot lawfully occur beyond the boundaries identified by the Supreme Court of Liberia. We therefore respectfully request first strict executions of the Supreme Court mandate. We are not challenging the Supreme Court mandate. In fact, we want the Supreme Court mandate to be executed. We want that to be executed. And second, suspension of enforcement action outside the court descriptions. Third, a court supervised survey with the participation of all adjoining neighbors, including third party, before any further enforcement proceed. This is the only lawful path forward. It is also the only peaceful one. Let me close by saying this. For decades, the Kamara and the Younger family have coexisted in this area without any dispute. The law must be applied in a way that restores the peace, not to destroy it. We stand for the rule of law. We stand for due process, and we stand for faithful obedience to the Supreme Court of Liberia's opinion. Thank you for your attention. And before I end my conversations, I would like for the Younger family representatives to speak, if you don't mind.
So the representative from the Younger family speaking.
First, let me say thanks to everyone who has gathered today for our media. It's more than a time to come here to this press conference. It is good to be here today as this media team to carry on the measures, because there are some measures around the country and our communities. That owning the property of the Kamara or the Keita is a maze fortune. So because of the ruling of the Supreme Court said that the Kamara belongs to this property of the Younger family. So, and we don't agree to that as the family of the Younger. So, and my mother bought the area in 1975. So, now I also respect the ruling of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court does not make an error in any rulings of the Republic of Liberia. So we respect that. We respect the rulings of the Supreme Court. But my disappointment is the land authorities, because the land authorities must be glad, must be so allocated within their rulings. Because the ruling they gave here to us today, it was in errors as land authority. You cannot come and do a survey once they gave you the survey, and the land authority take the other lands to survey from the Kamara side and leave the Younger family out and join into the Kamara properties. Because if you look at the deed here, it's showing that Kakata Morgan Highway is located as Keita, whose property there was 1 lakh. We started to 1 lakh. And now they are telling us that the Kamara owns our properties. So, while the Kamara will own this property, and the authority is telling us within the rulings, this property is belong to the Keita. This property is belong to the Keita. So, let us look at the reality of the Supreme Court. Because we are listening at the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, the Supreme Court said this area is belong to the Keita. And we own our deed. We have our deed. We have been making businesses who are business people. Asta Meta, we also have business within. So if they come out and say this property is belong, is a contradiction to the discourse of the country. It's not going to be contradicting our law. Then the law speak on behalf of the citizens of the country. Not always to contradict the law. This Supreme Court, it is not good to come out and say and work in line with the land authority. Because the Supreme Court is working in line with land authority, because every ruling that the land authority is giving is the one that the Supreme Court is going by. You will bow by the land authority rulings. So we have to do a resurvey to know the mean legitimate owner of this property, because we purchased the property from Arthur Barclay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
All right, so we are now available for questions. So please state your name and the media from.
Yes, clear. My name is PN News. You are calling for resurvey.
Yes.
Are you calling for resurvey?
We are not only calling for resurvey, we also want the enforcement to be stopped, because the Younger family has already filed in Writ of Prohibition. So the Writ, I have the Writ right here, that they have to stop everything because they may want to destroy all that property. So we want that to happen, and we also want a survey to be done where all adjoining parties are present.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Sam. I report for Insights. Yeah, we see the enforcement has already taken place on your property. So what's the next step? What's the way forward?
Yes, our lawyers are currently working on that. So, and they are working behind the scene and to ensure that due process takes place. So, however, it seems like media does not have the real information about the place, because some people think this is a religious matter, some people think this is a tribal matter, some people, everyone says different things. But what we're telling you now, that is a fact. So if you go out there, you speak from fact. And the Supreme Court opinion that you have in your possession, you can go on their official website, you can download one too. And you also have the survey report too. You can also look into that. You can speak from that. You don't have to say what I'm saying. You can speak from what you understand from the paper that was distributed to you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's a very clear list.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Last message that I really want to give. We want due process. And we want the Supreme Court to ensure that we have resolved it. We want the Supreme Court to ensure that the lower court is following its mandate. That the appellee must be placed in possession of his property based on the means and bounds of the pleaded. All of you that came today, maybe you were here, you have watched so many things happen here. Not a single day you ever saw a surveyor come along with Sherry. A surveyor, when they talk about the means and bounds, that can only be carried on by a licensed surveyor. But every time you see people here, the Sherry and the police. So we want the government, the Supreme Court, to assist in ensuring that this area is resurveyed and that the rightful owner, can have access back to the property.
Thank you. Your name again?
Sekou Kamara.
So that was the voice of Mr. Sekou Kamara speaking to the media. My name is Sam Kato.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.